Oh man, I have wanted one of these for so long. This is a high-end wet mop slash RoboVac type device. It can mop, it can vacuum and then mop, or it can vacuum and mop at the same time. This is the Narwal Freo X Ultra. Now, in the box, obviously you're gonna get the robot, but you're also gonna get the all-in-one station. It's just a little bit too big to fit on the table right here. Now, obviously the all-in-one station is where the robot's gonna go back to recharge and do a bunch of other cool stuff, which we'll get into. The all-in-one station itself is pretty cool looking, actually. It's got a modern look, but it's still kind of soft looking. It's got a good weight to it, so it feels like it's got good quality parts in it, and it's got some handles on the side, which obviously makes it a lot easier to move around. On the top of the all-in-one station is a backlit capacitive touch panel. This is where you can do a bunch of manual controls, like send it out to go clean, or have it clean itself, stuff like that. That way, if you don't have your phone near you and you just happen to be walking by the all-in-one station, you can just tap it and go. Now, inside the all-in-one station, we've got a dirty water tank, a clean water tank, and the detergent bottle that comes with it. So after the X Ultra is done mopping, for example, it'll go back to the all-in-one station, and the all-in-one station will then clean the mop heads, and if it needs to go back out to re-mop the floor, it'll then re-wet them, or if it's done mopping, it'll then dry the mop heads for you. It's pretty sweet. And so obviously all of the dirty water that came off of the mops then gets sucked and transferred into the dirty water tank. On the back of the all-in-one station, there's actually an option to connect clean water in and wastewater out lines, just in case you have those plumbed into your house somewhere. That way you never need to empty the dirty water tank or refill the clean water tank, which would be pretty convenient. Now, one really cool feature I wanted to tell you guys about is, as far as I'm aware, exclusive to the X Ultra. It's something called Dirt Sense. So what happens is when your vacuum goes out and mops and then comes back to the all-in-one station, when the mops are being cleaned and that dirty water is being transferred into the dirty water tank, there's sensors in there that'll tell whether or not the water is clean. If it detects that there's a certain amount of particles or the water is still too dirty, it'll send it back out and it'll continue mopping your whole bloody floor until by the time it goes back to the all-in-one station says the water is clean, then it'll stop. That's pretty sweet. Now, the X Ultra itself comes with a 3-sensor LiDAR array, and it's using the latest SLAM 4.0 computational mapping technology, which means you're, at the moment, until 4.5 or 5.0 comes out, you're getting the best computational mapping there is. You got one on the front here, as you can see, one on the top, and one on the side here. And this is actually a new sensor. It's their edge sensor, so that it can get much closer to like baseboards and all kinds of other objects. Now, the dust bag or dustbin is located underneath this removable magnetic lid here. And in the box, you'll actually get 2 of these, plus an additional reusable dustbin. This one actually comes in the vacuum itself in the box. So in total, you actually get 3 of these. Now, you'll notice that this isn't actually all that full. There's still tons of room left in it. And the reason behind that is because of that dust processing process that it goes through once it's in the all-in-one station. And it actually pushes the air into here kind of like a swirl and pushes all the debris to one side. So if you were to like remove this right after it's done vacuuming, you'll see that all of the debris was pushed over to one side, and it really like actually truly compresses the dust, unlike a lot of other competing brands out there. It's pretty cool to see. And they claim that it'll give you up to 7 weeks of zero maintenance. And then when you're done, you just take this and chuck it in the garbage. Now, how's it able to successfully push all that debris to one side? It's using an 8,200 Pascal suction motor. It means it can suck real hard. Now, taking a look at the bottom, there's another really cool feature. This brush. You know how all these companies always claim that their brushes are hair tangle free? This is the first brush in my entire 39 years on this planet that I've actually experienced a brush that's legitimately tangle-free. My wife sheds like a Great Pyrenees. You'll notice how this is shaped. It's actually tapered off at the end here, and it's only hanging on by one side. So what happens is, once hair does get on the brush, it eventually starts to slide off as this is spinning in rotation, starts to slide off and then just gets sucked up right there, right over top of the taper into the dustbin, no tangles. Weeks I have been using this vacuum. That dustbin isn't even half full, and there's not a single hair stuck on this dust brush, man. I don't know how. Oh, but we're not done there. You see these 2 mop heads? Do you see how they're sort of a rounded triangular shape? You see how as I spin them, they go together? That, my friends, is how you leave no gap streaks behind when mopping. Oh, and one more thing on the bottom here. You see these 2 little side brushes? Now, I've had robot vacuums, and they usually have 3 side brushes, and they spin really fast. What I found is they usually just fling the debris all over the place. These actually rotate quite slowly, so they actually scoop and pull it in. They're not just whipping stuff around. You'll never see debris flying out away, running away from your robot vacuum. It actually pulls it in. That's really, really nice. Anyways, everything here is replaceable. These side brushes are held in by friction. The brush, you saw how I took that out. The mop heads are actually held in by magnets, and the mop microfiber mops themselves can be replaced. They're just held on by Velcro, and everything here can be replaced, which is a good thing. Now, something that's really cool is when it's mopping, these mop heads are actually on motors that raise the mops up and down. So as soon as it starts mopping, obviously the mops will lower down so they make contact with the floor at 180 RPM at up to 12 Newton meters of pressure, and they'll spin for scrubbing, not just pushing, right? And as it transitions from non-carpeted flooring to like a rug or carpeted flooring, the motors will actually pull the mop heads back up towards it so that as it's going over the carpet or rug, it doesn't leave like a bunch of wet spots all over the place. And as it goes back onto non-carpeted again, you'll watch the motors lower the mop heads and it'll just continue on its way like nothing happened. It's pretty fun to watch. Now, another really cool feature about the mopping is Smart Edge Swing. This is something you'll enable in the settings. And what this will do is as it goes up towards the edges, say for instance a baseboard or furniture, for example, it'll kind of pivot the rear end so that the mops actually push right up against it. It actually will get the entire edge. It adds a bit of time onto the cleaning, but it's well worth it, especially if you don't want to have to go back manually and clean the last bloody half-inch strip of flooring along your baseboard or the floor. Now, the app is actually really well polished, looks great. There is a lot of user customization going on here, so when you do get this in, you're going to want to take your time and really go through everything. You can see we've got the option to vacuum and mop, vacuum then mop, just vacuum, just mop. You can customize exactly what you want it to do. You can look at your history of all the different things in there. That's sort of stuff my wife likes to look at. I don't really care about the data. We'll go into here. We'll go into settings. You can see you can change your area units. You can turn on and off edge mode. There's a high altitude mode. You can see when turned on, the robot will increase the fan power for better cleaning performance in high altitude environments. Plenty of different settings under general, a ton of different base station settings. Under manage accessories, you get sort of a visual representation on the life and when you need to replace some of these items. For example, the roller brush, the disposable dust bags, how many hours you have left approximately, and so on. Tapping on this icon gives you an idea of the current status of your base station. For example, the dust bag, which is actually in the vacuum itself, the clean water tank, dirty water tank, and you've got some manual settings there as well. Automatically add detergent. Here's your 3D map icon. So it gives you a cool little 3D representation of where exactly. So this is just my top floor. I haven't mapped my bottom floor yet, but this gives you an idea of where the base station is in regards to everything else. So for example, like this is my living room, this is my kitchen area. Pretty cool. So yeah, it's a really robust, well-polished app, fairly user intuitive, but there are a lot of user customization settings that I'd highly recommend you take your time and go through to properly set up your Freo X Ultra so that you can really enjoy not having to mop or vacuum ever again. Anyways, I'm trying to think of anything I may have missed, but I can't think of anything. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer. Or you can click on the link in the description, head to the product page and check it out for yourself. Or you can just search it on Google or Amazon. Narwal Freo X Ultra. You'll find it. Anyways, with all that being said, this is, and I haven't reviewed them all, in my opinion, the most well thought out, probably the best wet mop / robo vac on the market. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Cheers.